Welcome back, viewers. I'm working on a 2000 Jeep Wrangler 2.5 liter 4-cylinder manual transmission, 4x4 lifted hardtop, super nice custom Jeep with an awesome grill on it. I'll leave some pictures in the slideshow to show you guys those. So the customer is going to be filming. I'm going to do some filming. The customer is going to film me when I do a little bit of the work on this vehicle. So the complaint is that the check engine light is on. So the customer brought it to me, and basically what the customer did was she had a code reader and then decided to scan the computer and got fault code P0113, which is the intake air temperature sensor high voltage. And typically that means there's a problem in the circuit with the wiring, either something unplugged or a missing wire, or something, maybe sometimes with the sensor. And so so she hired me to do an inspection, and the sensor, by the way, didn't fix it. And so my inspection diagnostic findings were that after scanning the PCM, I got two fault codes. The only one I'm worried about today is the P0113, the intake air temperature sensor high voltage. And the fault code that I'm going to be fixing is the P0113 because I've already found the problem off camera. I've already done a bunch of off-camera work because I just think it would be tedious and too long to put in the video. The problem I found once I went to the manifold air temperature sensor was I found two wires and in the connector. One was cracked and the other one was broken off completely. So after cutting back all the insulation, I found the damage, and then I found the broken wire and all that. So this caused an open in the harness, making the DTC diagnostic trouble code P0113, intake air temperature sensor voltage. The fix that I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be replacing the intake air temperature sensor connector. One important thing that I'm going to show right now is, I think this is very interesting. I'm using my Launch Pro mini scan tool here, and I've already scanned the computer. And one important thing that I wanted to say, and this is going to be something that might help a DIY or help a technician out learning this and just to be better at doing diagnostics, is that when you scan the PCM and get a fault code and then clear the fault code and then rescan the PCM, you immediately get the same code again over and over and over. And that can be for ABS, that can be for airbag, that can be for anything. And in this case, it's the engine management system. So that might be your biggest clue that you have a wiring or circuit integrity problem. So look there first. So I've already scanned the computer, and so what I wanted to do here was I'm basically just going to go back and I'm going to clear the fault codes. And if you don't have this tool, you could just use a basic code reader for this because it'll do the same thing. So I'm going to read the fault code again, and I'm getting it again. So it's just instantly coming back. So this told me right away when I first started my diag that I had an issue with the wiring, the sensor, or an open circuit or something like that, some sort of integrity problem with the circuit. And so that's what this focus of this video is going to be on, is doing this. And then I'm going to show a little bit of the work that I did to correct this issue. And I'll put some pictures of the slideshow of the before and after. And then, like I said, I'm going to have my customer do some filming for me while I do a little bit of work on it. Okay, guys, so I'm getting started on this repair now, and I've kind of got everything already unbolted, so I'm just going to kind of move things out of the way. And I've got a camera person today, so this will be kind of nice. A tripod, I think, would be difficult for this repair. Okay, so down here, and I'm going to leave some slideshow pictures of what I've got going on here, what I've done. I found some wires back here that went to a transmission sensor that I cleaned up, and then so basically once I stripped back the insulation that came from Jeep, from the factory, I found that this left wire on the connector, which is the one I'm replacing first, is the left wire on the connector, and that way to make it easier, and then I'll snip this back. But I'm just going to show this one, that way you get an idea of how I do it. And so I'm going to solder this. I could use just a generic connector that you will pinch with a pair of pliers or something, or a tool, but I think that it's really good to do these sorts of repairs and then use this little tube here to cover the work that you've done, and that way it's neat and it's clean and it will last you 10 years or longer or forever. So anyway, so I'm going to get my soldering iron, and so if you want to show what I'm doing over here. Okay, so I got my soldering iron, it's all hot and ready. And so I got my solder ready here. And so basically what you're going to do is you just kind of touch the wire for, I don't know, maybe 10-15 seconds, get it hot, and get that wire hot. And then as you can see here, let me back off and let me say this before I do it. Once you strip back about maybe a ½ inch, like as you can see about how much is in the video, you'll see right there how much is there stripped back. Once you strip that amount back, and then you do it on the wire you're repairing, you just twist them together like about 2 times, so they're just kind of just touching each other. And once they're touching each other like that, and then I have this neat little tool here to kind of hold the wires as I solder them. And so I'll go over here and I'll go back to what I was saying before to get to solder. So you get a little bit of solder out of your little spool and just touch this here for about 5 to 10 seconds to get those wires hot. And then I just touch here at the tip of the soldering iron and let a little bit kind of just gravity fall onto it. And I can touch it a little bit and move it back and forth. And remember to wear safety glasses, you guys. And so I just kind of go along the whole length of the solder, which is probably 10 millimeters, not very much. And you don't want to put a huge pile on there. You kind of want it to just the wire to kind of just absorb it into its little strands. And I need a little bit of light here, but I think I can kind of see. All right, and then let's get a little bit over here, get a little bit over there, and that's basically how you want it to look. And it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be, because as long as 90% of it's touching the solder, we are good to go. So just let that cool for, I don't know, maybe like 30 seconds. Let it cool down, and the reason you don't want to glob it on there is because you got this little orange tube is going to go over that area, and I put 2 on there so I can slide one down, and then one can go over the area that I just repaired. So what you'll do is you'll take this off. Let me unplug my soldering iron. Okay, so, and you'll do a little gentle tug test. Okay? And it feels good. So, yeah, that looks good, feels good, and it's good. All right, so then I'm going to slide my tube down, the shrink tube that's going to go down here, and then another piece that's going to be going over the part that I just soldered. And so you just basically center it over the little 2-inch piece here. You center it over your solder point. And then I'm going to get my heat gun here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now we're working where there could be fuel. So right there over the throttle body is right next to where the fuel injectors are and the fuel rail and everything, which is right here. This is the fuel rail, and it's a 4-cylinder, so this is a fuel rail here, and then I'm sorry, this is just a connector, but this is the fuel rail right here, and then here's your 4 fuel injectors, and here's your throttle body. There isn't wet fuel going into here, but this is the general area of where this is happening, so you don't want to use a lighter. you want to use this. This is the safest way to do it. So you just hold it a few inches away, let it heat up. And do not do this if you smell raw fuel or it's wet or anything. You do not want to do this. It will be dangerous. So just be safe, use your common sense, and do things right. And you shouldn't have any issues. And that's exactly how you want it to look, guys. That's how the shrink tube goes over the wire. And that's how you want it to look. Okay. Air filter box intake boot, that this part goes to the throttle body there, and this part goes to the air cleaner box. There's two mounts here, and in this case it was broken off from the previous owner. And if you look over here, there's two 8mm, one missing, but there's on the top of the valve cover, there's two 8mm headed bolts, and one's in here. It feels like it's frozen in there. It could just be tight. Take these out. So you loosen up this clamp, and you loosen up this clamp, which would be here. So you get those two loose. And then you need to get these loose, so you'll need an extension with a 8mm headed socket and 1/4 inch drive ratchet. So you'll get these out of there so you don't snap these ears off. And these ears are on here for a purpose, to keep everything sealed and tight so it doesn't wiggle off, because this is an off-road vehicle. This is a Jeep Wrangler, and that's the reason. I've seen this on cars that are not off-road vehicles, but this is just something to be mindful of when you're taking off an intake boot or something. Look to see if there's other points of where it's secured onto the engine, because a lot of times you're going to find that. Not everything just comes out as quick and easy as I showed in the video. So be mindful of that, you guys, and just, take your time with things, because every car is different, every configuration is different. And if you go slow to go fast, I say this in all my videos, slow to go fast, you typically won't make any mistakes. I've already done the repair. I've left everything in the slideshow so that way you guys can see and follow along how I did the repair. You just want to make sure that you do a good clean job, because you want it to last a long time. And this customer, from what I've known from talking to her and my experience with her, she plans on keeping this thing a long time. So, and you would want to do a good repair anyway. But there are some situations are different, and it just depends on the situation and of what you do and how good you do of a job. Because there's just sometimes you just can't do a perfect job, so you just got to do the best that you can every time. And I wanted to say all this because I'd like to show that I have fixed the car and I verified it, and here's how I verified it. So remember before, in the very beginning of the video, I scanned the computer, I got the fault code, and then it kept coming back after I erased them, and then did it again. So I've already erased the code. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to read the PCM, and I'm going to show you that there's no DTC. So I'll go back and even go a step further. I'm going to clear the fault codes again. And like I said, you could do this with a simple code reader. You can just erase them again. Who cares if they're erased? Just erase them again and start over, and you can rescan the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to read the fault codes. No DTCs. So what this tells me now is that I can't 1000% guarantee that it's fixed, but according to the computer thinks it's fixed, because there's no wiring issues, and this wire goes in the electronic circuit, which the computer knows about. The PCM knows about this circuit, and so if there is any opens or any issues with the integrity of the wiring, the computer knows about it, because this wiring is all monitored by the engine management system, the computer. So every wire typically is always connected to the computer. That's why computers have, the main engine computer has like, in some cases, 50 to 100 wires coming out of it. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Hope you were able to follow along. I hope this helps at least a few people out. like I've said in other videos, I'm not a pro. I'm just a guy with a business that likes to make videos to help people out, because people have helped me out so much on YouTube making their videos. And it's just amazing to me that there's people like me and other creators on YouTube that make these videos that help everyone out, and we appreciate that. And I don't want to name any names because I don't know any of them, but there are a lot of famous YouTubers out there who make great videos that help people out and do this stuff. Thanks you guys for watching. This is David with HMAR Mobile Tech. I'll see you in the next one.